Make I update to na city hot. But the ADS, knock them the update. Them no born anybody well to touch the CBN governor, Godwin Emfiele. Why? Because all of them belong to the same Coven. Dele, Farotimi. This is not the highlight of our discussion today. Make we run am as the hot, no time. My name na ADS. Make we talk to Dele Farotimi, lawyer and political analyst. Hi, Dele. Okay, Dele. What do you make of the state of our nation? Are we getting better, or we are fast becoming a banana republic?
What a people tolerate is what becomes the culture. We have become so acculturated to insanity that it has become the normalcy in our country. Only a few days ago, we were being regaled by tales of these DSS applying to the court to give an ex parte order to arrest Emfiele because the central bank governor. The next thing we are hearing, Emfiele has suddenly become a fugitive wanted by the DSS. Who runs a country like this? This is worse than a banana republic, if the truth be told. It's almost as if the madmen are the ones running the asylum when you really think about it, because this is worse than impunity. If impunity is harnessed to some visioning, to some ideas as to what those who are exercising the powers of impunity are looking to achieve with the impunity that they are exercising, it might even be useful. But this is impunity that appears to have actually morphed into something darker, more sinister, simply because it is based on consumption of everything. Nothing seems to govern appetites anymore. We've graduated from having Ponde fainting in our National Assembly. We've graduated from having off the mic. We've graduated from that to having our central bank governor demanding to become president while still sat in the office of the central bank governor. And today, the same central bank governor is on the run. From who? For what? They're making grave allegations, financing terrorism. This is the same government that has had list of terrorists in his hand forever and has done nothing. So something somewhere is threatening to do in the brains of those who presume to still use their brains in Nigeria. And demand first, are we human? If we're human, then we must demand human standards. We must demand human standards. Human standards demands that when people have done things that they shouldn't do, they should account for what they have done. It shouldn't be that some people can just act with crass impunity, just ride roughshod over, and then they will say nothing has happened, just like nothing happened to Magu, nothing will happen. Because I say it, they're not born anybody well to touch Emfiele amongst them. All this one is just farcical gyration. All the things they did in their Coven will come out in the open for everybody to see, and we all know it. But because of this, their narrow thing that they are, whatever it is, just narrow interest, they are prepared to scatter the entire economy of a country, all because of, anyway.
We they live inside lawlessness. Nobody they are accountable for anything. If you belong to the upper echelon, you don't collect license to do as you like, and nothing will happen. Now me talk am, and Dele don't confirm am. Dele, now that our problem is staring us in the face, I beg, what do we do?
See, the purpose of weaponized poverty is to limit the capacity of the sufferer in the usage of his intellect. When you now align weaponized poverty to weaponized ignorance, what you get is stupefaction, which is what has happened in the Nigerian space. So constantly, the Nigerian system feeds the Nigerian people who are fixated on surviving. Because look at it, it's the festive season, we have fuel scarcity. The people who travel the most in Nigeria during the festive season, they have serious insecurity in their zones. In the midst of all of these, food inflation has gone off the chart. In the midst of all of these, everywhere you turn, everything is scarce. So it becomes pretty difficult for the person who is focused on surviving to look beyond the day and the moment. So it becomes very easy for a candidate that shouldn't even be anywhere near the presidential race, that should be the focus of everybody thinking about how to change this country, save it from itself, make sure that this madness that we are all discussing stops being our preoccupation. All these are impossible because the people are being distracted with hunger, with scandals, little unnecessary things here and there thrown their way just to make sure that they cannot focus on what is important. But in the midst of all of this, some of us, I once wrote a piece, I said, play God or play dog. How do you play dog? The dog barks. That's all it does. But it alerts the homeowner so that the homeowner is aware that there is danger approaching. It is the duty of some of us to act as the dog. And the dog's intention is to focus the homeowner's attention on imminent danger. 2023 February is an inflection point in the life of this country. The Nigerian gets to choose whether he is human and still capable of using his intellect. We should tell him that his self-preservation is paramount. And he should be able to tell that if he continues on his current trajectory, ruination awaits. These are the clear issues before the Nigerian as he enters into 2023. I urge Nigerians in 2023, look beyond your ethnicities, your religions, all the many differences. You have to look beyond those ones in 2023. Those who rule us, in their Coven, those divisions do not matter to them. It doesn't matter one jot. Their daughters marry themselves. The daughters and sons, they marry themselves. They do businesses together. Their fortunes are conjoined. They don't ask the ethnic or religious background of other members of their Coven, even though that helps in gaining access into the Coven. Why are we the ones who continue to divide ourselves for those who are united against us?
Now so, our country don't weaponize hunger and ignorance. Now waiting them use, they fight us like this. Hunger and ignorance. Time don't reach to say no to ethnic, religious, and tribal division. We must decide who is best for the country without minding where him they come from. Una they hear me so. Our common enemies, they united in their shrine. Shrine. We must be united in our own corners so we go fit pursue them, come out for power this year. Una they hear me so. Dele, you are a staunch supporter of Peter Obi, the Labour Party presidential candidate. We know that one. You have spoken about him like your own brother, although he is Igbo and you are Yoruba. So, Dele, why?
What I've been intrigued, mainly because I think it's a misunderstanding of the battle terrain in the 2023 election to ask that question that way. This is not about Peter Obi. The truth of the matter is that the Peter Obi presidential bid is really not about Peter Obi. Peter Obi himself cannot come out and tell people that he's not running again. He can't withdraw from this race. It's not about Peter Obi. Peter Obi is merely the totem. A people have sat back for a long season, been held down, knocked back every time they've attempted to get up. A lot of them walked away from the process and became disconnected from that process, disavowed any involvement with this. They walked away. But you see, I keep talking about 2023 as an inflection point. And what does that mean? It simply means that several issues, seemingly unrelated, that had lingered for a long time, have culminated in this moment. Why is it that it is at that point when we were all demanding, I was demanding at least for the last 2-3 years, that the next president should be of Igbo extraction? Why is it at that time that somebody like Peter Obi emerged as a candidate? Because if it was somebody like Oji Uzor Kalu that had emerged, that certainly would not be banging the drum of Igbo candidacy. It's not going to happen. But a man who is eminently qualified and happens to be of Igbo stock is out there contesting. So that's one. A lot of people are queuing up behind that singular issue. That's one. And then NSAS is unfortunate, but the reality is that the Nigerian attempted to assert citizenship during the NSAS protest, and the state violently clamped down on that attempt, and the system, thankfully, was denuded, so the people could see it for the evil that it truly is, and the people who are the victims, those who attempted to protest, their anger was still simmering. But anger without action is nothing, is impotence. So in the immediate aftermath of NSAS, some of us went out there and we were begging people, go and register to vote. There were several people, church organizations, mosque organizations, civil rights organizations, all sorts of people were actively working to ask people to register to vote. So, in the midst of all of this, there was no Peter Obi. There are several other things going on. The Muslim ticket, for instance, was another galvanizing factor. There are some people whose sole interest is, I'm not going to vote this Muslim ticket. So you have myriads of interests that have coalesced together at the same time to create an inflection point. Peter Obi is merely the beneficiary of a moment in time that he himself, this is where I talk about preparation and opportunity. People talk about luck. There is nothing called luck. I'm not saying that there aren't happenstance, but I'm saying that there must be a coincidence of preparation and opportunity. If you are not prepared, the opportunity will come and it will go because you were not prepared. If Peter Obi had not built up the goodwill he built up by his deeds in Anambra, he would not be able to stand. I would not be able to speak for him. Because at that point, it would now be a political thing that I will be doing. But I can speak for him because he has a record that speaks for him. People would have exceptions here and there. It's up to them to bring their exceptions. It's a marketplace of ideas. That's what politics is. Bring your ideas, put it in the marketplace, and then tell me what it is that you can point at that you will say makes him compare less favorably with either a Melokon or Etiku. The reality of the matter is that the people in the race, none of them, none, compares to him in terms of record in public office and in the private sector. They might have issues here and there. Anybody can say what they care to say. But the reality is that as far as public service is concerned in the space called Nigeria in this 2023 election, there is no compare to Peter Obi in terms of record or in terms of visioning.
2023 presidential election no be about Peter Obi. Una don hear am. Now movement to see Nigeria work again. And it can be say a man from Igbo extraction offering us a balanced Christian Muslim ticket don't prepare himself for this opportunity. And he is good to go. Dem no born Peter Obi well to come outside tomorrow to talk say him no dey contest again. They no born am well. Now where we dey now be that. Una dey hear me so? This matter e don big pass Peter Obi. Okay, finally, Dele, as a lawyer, you have always been an advocate of the rule of law. True or false? Not true. What do you think should happen to those that have kept Nigeria backward all these years via looting our public funds if Peter Obi becomes our next president?
If Nigeria is anchored to the rule of law and we have a president who is willing to submit himself to the rule of law, and if he fails to submit himself to the rule of law because the country is ruled by law, he will be subject to the law, then let him get into office and say that we cannot demand judicial probe of all occupiers of that office who have stolen this. Somebody must account for why we are the way we are. So the Pondays of this world will go with their loots. All those offering mics. Look, he's the one looking for the presidency. We are not looking for the presidency and we are not seeking any political office. I'm a private citizen. And as a private citizen, I have a right to demand that the laws be upheld in my country. And I am of the firm opinion that an account must be held. These people must render an account for their deeds. I'm not talking about Obasanjo or IBB or Abdul. It's personalizing it. It's a systemic accounting that must be done. You cannot claim that all of a sudden, so the law is beginning to rule. But that law that is ruling is not going to demand account of those who have stolen and held the nation bondage and who are still holding untold riches. That is not rule of law.
Finished. If we get them right, everybody go there subjected to the rule of law. Anything where anybody thief from us in the past, him go vomit them in the present. No hiding place for anybody. Nigeria must work again. Thank you, Dele Farotimi. Thank you for coming on our show. Him na lawyer and political analyst. For those of you who don't know him. Dele, na man you be. Na me talk am. Na man you be. In conclusion, the ball now is there inside our court to make this country work again. Go and collect your PVC now. Collection go end on the 22nd of February. Be part of Nigeria Decide 2023. I go say ona tomorrow. Oh yeah, wait. You don't collect updates, you won't run away, Abi. Well, Biko, subscribe. Enjoy. Biko, da Allah, subscribe.